Hey y'all, it's Siobhan Muir. Welcome back to Cooking with Siobhan. So tonight we're doing one of our favorite meals, and it's really good. We look forward to it, and tonight it'll be vegetable heavy, but we're making a chicken stir fry. This is kind of one of our staples that we make even in the summer when it's hot, because it's full of vegetables, there's a little bit of protein, there's sesame oil, which smells and tastes so good. And then you get, and the great thing about summertime is you get all the cool vegetables. You get broccoli, you get snow peas or sugar snap peas, you get leeks, you get onions, you get carrots and zucchini and stuff. So it's a great time to make a vegetable heavy stir fry. Now, he does all the cooking. I'm just the baker. But he's also my personal chef, right? So he makes the good stuff, and then I make the dessert at the end that makes everybody happy. So, what I'm going to tell you what we need before he gets started, because he will ramble on about all the ingredients. But what I want you to need is you're going to need 1 to 2 pounds of chicken, right? You're going to need at least 1 leek.
I prefer 1 leek, yes.
Yeah. Instead of 3, they come in, usually when they're sold in a group of 3. You only need 1. A head of broccoli, a couple of carrots, and then whatever you want to add, a zucchini, sugar snap peas. If you don't want to chop up everything and buy individually, you can also find this in the freezer section of your local grocery store. And you can make this. Is this the deluxe?
That might be.
They make a deluxe one that has cauliflower and other things in it. This one has sugar snap peas, broccoli, green beans, yellow squash, red peppers, carrots, yellow peppers, and water chestnuts. We get our own, we like the baby corn, which are the little pieces of corn, and the water chestnuts ourselves. These are really good additions to the overall thing. That's just your base. So, and of course you eat it over rice, and you know how to cook rice. So we're gonna show you how to put together and cook the stir fry with all the vegetable heavy, and then you can make your rice, and then you're good to go from there.
So, tearing off of what Siobhan is talking about, do you need any real special vegetables? No. If you have veggies in the fridge, use them. They're great. If you know that your veggies are, they're starting to go a little hinky and it's time to use them, throw them in. It all works. The big thing, and I've done it with leeks, I've done it with bok choy as the base. Do you need a wok? Nope. If you got a pot, pan, this will work. I mean, woks are nice and fancy, but you don't really need it.
They add a little bit more, instead of being straight-ended, they kind of have a swayed out style, and that gives you more room to move things around, but really you don't need it.
And toss it and so on.
Will you use these?
I will be using these as well, because veggies are good. If you don't have the space in your fridge, but you want to have it, grab a bag of frozen. And every major grocery store chain carries something. They can be, 1 or 2 pound bag. They can be, I think, even up to like a 4 pound bag. So it all works.
And you don't have to get the one that says stir fry. You could just get a mixed veggie, right?
It works.
And it works with like those crinkle cut carrots and julienne beans.
And as to oil, any oil works. I've done it with vegetable, olive, avocado, sesame. They all work. They're all good. I like to go with the sesame because it gives it a little bit more of a smoky taste. And so I've got the rice going behind me, so I'm steaming some rice, and everything has been cut up and ready to go. The only thing that I do that's addition is I wash the leeks once they're cut, because being that it's a ground onion, there is still dirt and so on that can get in between the layers. So wash it and so on, and then you can get ready to go. So I'm going to try and make this pretty quick.
All right, let's get started.
And overall, it's about a 20-25 minute time to cook. So, like everything, I cook on medium. And we'll turn the light on. The rice is going.
We're going to put oil in the pan. This way he pointed at it, but...
I like to be pretty liberal in the amount of oil I like to use, because I wanted to make sure that it cooks and it doesn't burn. So Once the oil heats up, I'm going to throw the leeks on, saute them for a few minutes, let them start to get softened and so on. Then I will take the meat, throw the meat in. Do you need to season it? You don't have to. I will put on some fresh garlic, and that is pretty much it. And then I'll also top in, because we like it, sesame seeds. And that is pretty much the only seasoning I do in this entire dish. And so once the meat starts to get cooked a bit, I throw all the veggies in, put a little bit of water in it, and then it's gonna steam and cook slowly. And by the time the rice is done, the food is done. And so the rice takes about 25 to 30 minutes to slow cook, slow steam. So I'm gonna get started. If you get a little water in the pan because there's some water left over, don't worry about it. At the end of the day, you're gonna create a sauce, and so we'll let that start to cook down. It's getting warm. I'm gonna turn the heat up a little bit, and I go put my arm right through the camera. It's always good. So we'll let that start to get coated with the sesame oil, and at which point I'll just let it sit for about a minute or two so that it starts to soften and get translucent. And when it's ready, I'll add the meat. So we'll be back in a few seconds. All right, so now for those who aren't familiar with leeks are like a giant green onion, and so I will cut it down, or I'll cap the end off, and I'll cut it down lengthwise, and then I'll cut it into discs before I wash it and so on, just because it creates a pretty good, decent base. But like I said, I've used bok choy, I don't think I've ever used kale or chard, but you can probably do it. I mean, the big thing with those is they cook down really, really quick, so they would be the last thing you want to add. So the leeks are starting to get soft and translucent, so at this stage I'm going to add in the meat, and 1 to 2 pounds, or if you want more meat, go for it. You can add however much or however little you want. And with this, I will add some more oil, because you really can't go wrong with the oil, because it won't allow the food to burn to the bottom. And again, once you start adding in the other vegetables, it's all going to create its own simmer sauce. And you can have as much of the liquid or as little as you'd like. Some will, like in the wok, you can sear the meat and the veggies together. But if you don't have one, or like we've never had a need for one, that this works. I mean, it's not a traditional stir fry, but it's basically, it's all over here. It's you stir and fry food. So at this point, because the meat's in, I will add some garlic. And I'll throw some sesame seeds in. I just keep stirring it around, watching the meat. As the meat starts to cook, it'll start to lose the pink and become more and more white. The leeks are still getting soft and continue to go. And so we're going to let this cook for a minute, and then we'll add the bowl of veggies and the bag of veggies to the mix. And once that goes in, I will also open up the can of the baby corn and the water chestnuts. I will rinse them off, because the nice thing about canned food is one of the best preserves they put on it is a boatload of salt. And if you're watching your salt intake, I rinse off all those vegetables, because at least in that sense, it is healthy, or a little bit healthier. Meat's starting to cook, or start to get the edges cooked around it. The only thing I will say, you want to make sure you have a deep enough pot to cook your vegetables in. The last thing you want to see is it to overflow and go, oopsie. Yeah. So we add the carrots, we add the water chestnuts, then we'll add a little water, and at that point we just steam it. And that's where it takes about 15 minutes. And so we'll get back to more of the live commentary once we're ready for the end of the steaming. So at this point I'm going to add about 1/3 of a cup of water and just let it steam. And that's it. So I steam it until I start seeing like the zucchinis are starting to cook, the carrots are softening up. One of the things I will do is I will probably taste either the carrots or the broccoli if I put one or the other in, because they're going to tell me when everything else is softened up. And
right, they're the hardest vegetables, so you want to make sure that they're well steamed so you're not going crunch, crunch, crunch for your stir fry.
And if you like, let's say your water chestnuts to have that really strong crunchy taste to it, hold off on adding them till the very end. And let them heat up, and then there you go. You have the crunch there if you want it. So we're now just going to wait till the timer goes off, and we'll come back. Everything is pretty much done. It took a little longer to steam. It took about a little over 20 minutes just because I put in a lot of vegetables this time to make Siobhan happy. The rice is actually done. It's perfect. So, you know, it's nice, light, and flaky. And so I don't burn my hands. I'm just going to use that. And so rice is done. So I'm going to turn the heat off. The last thing I need to do is to add one extra layer of flavoring to the stir fry. And this doesn't take much effort in the sense of how long it needs to sit. So, and you don't even have to put the lid back on. So, we use generally Bragg's Amino as a replacement for soy sauce.
And the reason is turns out soy sauce is not gluten-free. So the nice thing about Bragg's is it tastes almost exactly the same and it has no gluten in it.
And so I just drizzle a little bit of the Bragg's on it. It's going to add a little bit of salt to it. And I stir it in and let it, by the time I'm done stirring, it is pretty much all done. And so everything's been cooked, it's soft. I mean, the zucchini's nicely done. The carrots are starting to soften and break a little bit. So some of the really thin pieces I've cut are breaking apart. The thicker pieces are done. So that is it.
And there's a nice little, bit of sauce at the bottom that helps flavor and it soaks into the vegetables.
So if you like to have it with sauce, you've got the sauce. If you don't, you can separate it out. So I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to take it off the heat and hopefully not burn my hands. And so I'm going to grab a plate. I'll grab a little bit of sesame seed, add a little more garnish to it, and voila! You have a stir fry with some chicken and a lot of veggies.
Today was veggie heavy, which really is actually a good thing because most Americans eat way too much meat in general. But this is a really nice mixture with meat to vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there you go. It's actually a really quick dish if you think about it, because once you prep everything, throw it all together, steam it, you're good. That's literally how fast it is.
And from start to finish, if you want to take in the prep time and so on, you're looking at
45
about
minutes.
an hour at the most.
Yeah.
It really comes down to how many veggies you wish to put in and how you wish to cut them up. If you want to go with the frozen stuff, all you're doing is start the rice, cut up the meat, and there you go. So it's even quicker.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much for joining us. Ring the bell to find out when there's new videos posted. Like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Tell us what you found that you did differently, the flavors that you like. Join me on Patreon. You get these videos as well as all sorts of other writing goodies, so to keep you engaged. So thank you so much for joining us. Happy making, happy baking, happy eating, and happy reading. Talk to you later.